Welcome to John Sequitur, a show about everything.
Hello and welcome to John Sequitur.
Hi.
Hi.
Hello.
I'm John. I'm here with M
Hello.
and Lindsay.
Hi.
And one of our other co-hosts has the bug. So,
The Rona.
yeah. Well, Lindsay, this is your topic. What is the topic?
The topic is the ocean.
Okay, so
Yeah.
I thought it was really interesting you came up with this topic because I've been binge watching documentaries for the past 6 months or so. Things like Blackfish and Plastic Ocean.
Oh,
Have
yeah.
you seen those?
I've seen Blackfish. I saw it years ago, but it definitely impacted me a lot. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't cry easily, and that actually made me cry. I mean, it's just so sad.
Yeah.
I mean, when I was little, I loved going to SeaWorld. Like, that was a fun time for me, but now I would never support it knowing what I know now.
Yeah. All of that stuff. I feel like between that and looking into things like zero waste type stuff, and I feel like my views on just about everything have been completely shifted. You know what I mean? Including things like going to the zoo, including things like the time of year right now with all these Christmas lights and stuff like that, and I'm like, it's so wasteful. I feel like it's really changed my point of view. And my son, who's 12, he was watching a YouTuber, and they were pulling a prank on somebody, and they were decorating their entire room in Post-it notes, and I was like, that is so wasteful. They're just gonna throw them all away, and you know what I mean. And he's like, Mom, you ruin everything these days.
Well, people need to be more conscious of that stuff. I remember I used to work with this lady that if there was a tiny little spill, she would pull off 12 paper towels just to get this. It's all you need is to take the washcloth and get this little spill. You don't need to pull off 12 paper towels.
Mm-hmm.
It drove me crazy.
Yeah, I feel like I look at everything differently now.
What is Blackfish for people like me who don't know what Blackfish is? What is
It's
it?
a documentary about whales and about SeaWorld and about what whales are put through and how they capture the whales and then have them in captivity. And it's just so sad, especially because whales have extra emotional intelligence, more so than we even have. They have more of their brain that is for processing emotional intelligence, and so it really, really affects them when they're taking their family members and then they keep them in captivity like they do. It's really hard on them.
And whales stay together for life, right?
Yeah, they are very social animals. They're very family oriented.
Mm-hmm. And I know, in the documentaries, they specifically talk about, do you remember there was a SeaWorld worker that was killed? It was in the 90s, I want to say. And I actually remember when it happened, because there was all this talk about, she was leaning into the pool and her ponytail was hanging down, and the whale grabbed onto her ponytail, and it was they weren't blaming her, they were just saying it was a bad accident or whatever, but they go into great detail about the whole history of this whale's life, everywhere else it's been, the other people that have worked with it. They have interviews with people that, worked with this whale previously, and then people that were there when it happened, and and the other workers were saying they could tell the whale was kind of agitated, right? At the time.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. So it's really good and really depressing.
And I mean, the whales get very depressed in SeaWorld, and just from the sounds that they make and everything, they can tell that they are depressed. But they still do this because it's making money. Although I'm assuming that most SeaWorlds have closed down at this point. I don't really even know. You know?
I actually looked that up. The one in Orlando is still running. I think there was one in Ohio that shut down.
Yeah, that's the one I remember going to when I was little.
The one in Orlando had that famous shark attack back in 1983 that Dennis Quaid saved the day with. Never mind, Jaws 3 reference. On the wrong show again.
Total silence. I love it. I love it.
I mean, I'm trying. I remember going to SeaWorld when I was a kid and being both, like, depressed and also, like, what is the fun of this? Like, this isn't even fun.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
it's kind of the same
never
with
liked zoos or anything like that.
I remember always wanting to go to zoos when I was little, and the older I got, the more I was like, this is kind of depressing.
Yeah, same for me. Yeah, the last time I remember going to the zoo had to be 15 or even more years ago, because I don't want to support them anymore, but I remember there was this chimpanzee with its little baby, and the baby looked terrified. Like, all these people are, like, just staring in at it, and the mother was, like, comforting the baby, and it was just so sad.
Mm-hmm.
And then I remember seeing a gorilla that just was all by itself because they had a mate for it, but it was dead at that point, so it was just all by itself in this room. It looked at us with the saddest eyes, and it just makes me so sad. All these animals that are just for our entertainment, people think.
Right, exactly.
You know, they have feelings too. They don't want to be just in cages like that.
Mm-hmm.
I did go see a manatee this summer. I drove a long way to see a manatee. But, to be fair, manatees are also family-oriented. They aren't social. They don't hang out with anything but their families. But these manatees lost, I think, their mother. There was 2 of them. And they were in Florida, so they moved them all the way to Columbus because they were the only functional manatee habitat that was around. By around, I mean, like, you know, thousands of miles from where they were. But,
right.
Yeah, I went and I saw them, and they seemed fine. They were eating heads of lettuce. I don't know.
So they moved them to were they already in captivity and they lost their mother, or were they?
Yes, but in both cases, they were not for. Well, in the first case, they weren't for display. They were for, like, what's it called? Taking care of them.
Preservation.
Preservation.
Sanctuary?
Yes, it was a sanctuary, right? So they moved them to where there were other manatees, which I don't understand now that I think about it. You know what? They suck. Now that I think about it, because if they're not social animals, why are they like, they need more manatees?
Right.
That's dumb. Oh, man.
Oh.
But literally, I drove the whole way there just to see the manatees.
Where'd you go? Columbus?
Columbus. I spent like 5 days just driving to Columbus, camping out, just to see manatees. So.
See, and I feel like
part of the problem.
There's it's depressing, isn't it?
Yeah, a little bit.
There was on the when I lived on the other side of the state, there was a wolf sanctuary, but they were still, like, in captivity. But I don't know if there was a reason for that. I've seen different things. Like, I've seen, like, there was an elephant sanctuary, and I know those were elephants that could not be put back into the wild again. So I got that. But sometimes it's like, I wonder how much is it, like there's zoos, but then there's also these other kind of, like, levels of captive animals. You know what I mean?
Right, yeah. Because, I mean, some people argue that they would be more endangered in the wild than they would be, like, because they're being protected, sort of being in captivity, some of them, but...
If we're not the cause of them going extinct,
yeah, exactly.
then why are we trying to stop it from happening? Because
we are. I mean, I think humans are the cause of a lot of
them, but not all.
Right.
So I think it depends. Like, if we're the cause, we need to fix it. If we're not the cause,
well, like,
leave it alone.
Some things some things obviously go extinct naturally, but, like, what was it? I'm getting away from the ocean because I only know about certain things, but, like, elephants for their tusks. Or, like, there were certain kind of lions, like, in Africa, like as soon as they discover, oh, we can get something from them, then it's just like, it's an all-out, you know, just hunt and hunt and hunt until they're almost gone. And sometimes gone.
Yeah. And elephants are another very intelligent and social animal, and it's so sad that people kill them just for these tusks and then just leave them lay there to...
Sometimes I wonder how many animals are not intelligent. I think they all might be. Like,
well, yeah, they are, but I mean, some are more so than others.
Have you ever seen the, one of the worst videos I've ever seen is the shark finning videos? So, and this happens mostly around like Asian countries, but they'll pull sharks up onto it's for shark fin soup. They'll pull sharks up onto a boat, cut the fin off, and then push the shark back into the ocean. So that it's gonna like just die.
I mean, that's just so cruel.
Mm-hmm.
Humans are terrible.
I seriously doubt any animal is going to put us in a sanctuary when we're dying off. I get the feeling they'll just be like, let them die. Although I would have fun in the zoo, I think.
You would like to live in a...
Lay in the sun all day. They bring me like, they just throw food in there for me. It lays on the ground. I gotta eat it off the ground.
It's probably not Taco Bell though. It's probably not like what you're in the mood for.
Okay,
I mean, it would be an easy life, but you wouldn't have any freedom whatsoever.
No friends. I mean, they might throw somebody in there every once in a while.
I keep forgetting it's an audio podcast. This means nothing to the audience.
Right. You have to say potato, potato.
That's the one. Okay. Tell me what you guys know about Trash Island. Nothing?
Well, you have the most of the information on that, right?
Okay, so okay.
Where's it at
There's
first?
so much. I don't even know how to like. So there are several actually like garbage patches in the ocean, and I think the biggest one is in the Pacific.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just from the way the currents, because basically the way the currents work around the entire world, you might as well just call it all one ocean, because one goes into the next.
Right,
and,
yeah.
You know what I mean? So where certain currents like kind of gather together is where all of the shit just inevitably like gathers. So there's like entire islands that are just complete garbage.
Hell yeah.
So and a big issue, okay, so there's lots of issues with this. One is that a lot of the marine life, so it's a lot of plastic, right? Because plastic doesn't break down. It doesn't break down, but it breaks apart. So it becomes microplastics, right? Exactly. So so scavengers in the ocean and you know, whatever, they see a little piece of something and they think it's, you know, whatever they think it is that's floating on top of the ocean, so that they ingest it, and then they'll get stomachs full of little pieces of plastic, and they die. Also, like the adult birds, like a lot of the birds, they'll collect up what they think is food and then come back to feed their babies.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
And so they're feeding them plastic, which is, you know. Also, another issue with the microplastics is, especially the really tiny microplastics, like from facial scrubs, and like, have you ever seen those? They're called nurdles, I think. It's the tiny little balls that, like, if a company is making something out of plastic, they'll get these giant bags with the little balls of plastic to melt it down and form it in. Okay, so it's these tiny little balls of plastic, and like there was one off the coast of, I think, India. I'm not sure. I'm not good with names, places, faces. But an entire, like, an ocean liner dumped accidentally dumped thousands of bags of these. So fish will eat it, and then from there it just goes up the food chain. So guess who eventually is eating it?
Sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like, if people don't care about marine life, they should at least care about their own lives, and if they're eating seafood, they are eating plastic too.
I feel like I should just skip the fish and go straight to the plastic.
And
I mean,
and other toxins too, because so apparently the plastic, like if it's floating around in the ocean, like the plastic attracts chemicals and stuff. It like sticks to it.
Mm-hmm.
So that we're also
and
ingesting
oil that gets dumped into the ocean, and there's so much pollution in the ocean. It's terrible.
Mm-hmm.
And plus, it all ends up changing the pH of the ocean too, and then it becomes very acidic, and that's partially what's messing up like the Great Barrier Reef and killing off. That's the biggest living thing in the world, is the Great Barrier Reef, but it's dying because of the pH of the ocean, because of pollution.
And that's like when they talk about like coral bleaching, is that what that Is that what that is?
I'm unsure, but that would make sense.
Yeah.
I'm positive.
Isn't the ocean partially like the thing that's keeping us alive while the global warming is happening? It's slowing it down just a little bit. It keeps the carbon emissions lower than they could be.
Yeah, but at the same time, it's also absorbing it, which is part of.
Well, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
Like, if it gets too fucked up, then we're in even more trouble.
Yeah.
So.
For sure.
Yeah, I'm just stating obvious things here.
That's okay.
If things go wrong, it's bad.
Well, and then like
they're rising too.
right.
You know,
Mhm.
so I mean, places like Venice or Japan supposedly eventually is going to be underwater.
Right, and then you have all the extreme weather. I don't understand how people don't put that together. Like, you know what I mean? And oh, there's another.
I saw a senator throw a snowball in the Senate hall. So you're full of shit.
Thanks for being here. There's another documentary called Chasing Ice. I don't know if you've ever seen. I think it was on Netflix. This guy went around the world. All of the huge glaciers. He set up time-lapse cameras across all of these glaciers and took film of it took pictures every minute or hour or something like that, and just showed how these glaciers are just melting like they would normally melt a little bit in warmer months and then freeze back up again and go back to their regular size, and they did that for how many years? Millions? I don't know.
Yeah.
But now, because of the temperature, they're just melting, and you can actually watch them just disappearing, and all of the
I've seen
they
them break off and float away.
calving into the ocean. So you have
Sorry.
no, go ahead.
Okay, and then that messes up the habitats of polar bears and seals and all these animals that live on glaciers.
Yeah.
You know?
Yep. I even saw the smallest there's in the Antarctic, normally all the ice on top of the water, there's algae that grows underneath. So there are small sea creatures that feed off of that. But because that ice isn't there anymore for a lot of the year, all of that, it's from the very smallest up to, the very top, just fucking everything up.
It's a little overwhelming.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What is going through people's minds when they're like, you know what's a good idea? Let's throw garbage in the ocean. Or, hang on. Oh, I didn't, I'm talking to myself, not you two. Garbage goes into a landfill, right? How does it go from the landfill to the ocean?
Okay, so wind is a major part of it.
Yeah, okay.
But
they actually do dump garbage into the ocean too, though.
Yeah, I was wondering that. Where do they think it goes? I know you're gonna say they don't care, but they have to at least think in their heads, this is going nowhere.
well, we send.
There's no reason that they have to keep creating these things to be used one time and then thrown away like that.
Exactly.
We could be making things out of hemp that would be more biodegradable and natural, and it wouldn't be on the earth and in the ocean for thousands and thousands of years to come.
Yeah, and that's what it has to be. Right now, it's this linear means of production, where at the end of it can just be thrown out. But it needs to be cyclical. It needs to be a cycle where things are repurposed and reused, or able to be repurposed or reused.
Right.
But to get back to the garbage thing, we send a lot of our garbage to underdeveloped countries.
Yeah, we do.
And so we don't care. You know what I mean? It's it's their problem. And if we don't see it, if you don't actually seek...
Your house is haunted.
My bread fell off the thing. If you don't actually seek out this information, why would you give it a second thought?
But even if people aren't seeing it, it's still affecting everyone.
Right.
And
Exactly.
especially future generations.
For sure.
Which there probably won't be that many more of.
Right, yeah.
So...
The way things are going.
Well, Canada, I think... Well, yeah, I just said this. Canada banned single-use plastic.
Yeah.
Starting, but it's going to be a gradual thing, right? Till like
Right.
by the end of 2021 or something like that. So why do people fight it so much here?
We got other things to worry about, like Trump getting the election stolen from him. Come on now. Or, no, I'm done. Jokes are done. Tell me about octopuses. I know that they're super smart as hell, and that's all I know about them, unfortunately.
Yeah, they're quite fascinating. I mean, they have a very large brain, but actually the majority of their neurons aren't even in their brain. It's in the rest of their body, like mostly in their arms. So basically, it's like they can think with their arms.
Holy
They
shit.
can see and taste with their arms. And it's crazy how much they can camouflage themselves to like blend in with their surroundings to protect themselves, because they have multiple layers on their skin of different types of cells that can create different colors and different textures, even so that they can have like bumps and like blend in with coral, or like they can look like they're a different kind of marine animal. And I guess millions of years ago, the earliest ancestor of the octopus was originally had a shell, and that protected them. But then eventually they evolved to not have that shell. And so I think that's kind of how they started getting extra intelligent, because they were so vulnerable that they had to develop these extra ways to protect themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess they can camouflage themselves like way faster than any other animal that can do that. Like a chameleon will take about 20 seconds or so to blend in with its surroundings, but octopus can do it in milliseconds, because of all of their neurons, that they just like, as soon as they touch something, they know exactly what they need to become, and they can do it without even thinking. I guess they did a test where they observed octopuses, and they saw them camouflage into different forms about 170 different times in an hour, which is crazy.
Oh my god.
And then they can think, like, they can plan for things. Like, if they're going to be traveling somewhere that they know they're not going to have shelter, they might take a couple of coconut shells with them to use for shelter, because they know they'll need that. And then when they want to rest, they can just sit down and put the coconut shells on.
Oh my god!
So it's like they're planning for things.
Dude,
and
they're smarter than
most
teenagers.
animals can do that. Huh?
I said they're smarter than human teenagers.
Yeah!
Damn.
That's insane.
So interesting.
So, are squids similar to this? Can they do similar things?
They're very related to the octopuses,
Okay.
but I'm not as knowledgeable about squid as I am about octopuses, but I know they're very similar. Oh, also, like, if an octopus has a limb cut off, it will still be able to move and grasp for up to an hour, I think, after it's removed from, and that's because it still has all these neurons attached to it. It doesn't have to be part of something that has a brain, because it can think independently.
Oh my god.
Damn. Imagine being killed by a stray octopus arm. Wait, no, you don't have to imagine that,
Stray.
actually. It's not the best thing to think about.
I actually don't really know anything about octopi.
There. And you waited for like 5 minutes and...
That's how I would want to say it too. That seems like it would be proper. The octopus is the proper.
I like to take anything that ends in like SE and put an I on the end of it. I don't know why.
It sounds like it should be right.
Right.
So, the reason that I brought up squids was the giant squid. It's one of the biggest marine animals there are, and we barely ever see it, which makes me think,
How big is it?
this big.
How
Really, really big.
how big is
I
it?
don't know, it's really big. I don't know. I
Like,
don't have notes.
well, what? Blue whales are the largest.
I didn't say the largest. I said one of.
So in comparison,
giant in their
are they
name.
bigger than a person? You don't know.
They are bigger than a person. They're most definitely bigger than a person.
Are they?
Yeah.
I
I'm
don't know
yelling at
exactly,
you.
but I'm sure they're bigger than human.
What's that?
I said I don't know exactly how big they are, but I'm sure that they are bigger than humans.
Yeah, they
All
are.
right.
Because
Well, she said it, so I believe it now.
Oh yeah, I just have all the knowledge.
Just kidding.
If this wasn't John Sequitur, then you'd have no idea I was here, because I'm useless. I brought it up because they're really big. We have a tough time finding them. I think we've only actually captured them on film a couple of times ever. And it makes me wonder how many smaller animals we don't know about in the bottom of the ocean.
I'd say a lot.
Thousands and thousands and thousands.
Mm-hmm.
Some of those motherfuckers are creepy as hell. Like, they glow and they look like little skeleton people. And that's all I brought to the table. Yep. I'll be seeing myself out now.
See, and we're
so interesting though to think about all of the creatures in the ocean that we haven't even discovered, because the ocean is so huge and so deep, and there's so many things that we have no idea about. There could be all sorts of things in there that we have never even thought about.
And that is why Bigfoot is real.
No!
Yes!
The wine I'm drinking is Bigfoot Shadows.
Yeah.
Nice!
Made from real Bigfoot shadows.
What kind? Do you like sweet wine or dry wine?
I like more of a dry wine normally, but this is sweeter than I normally drink, and it's pretty good. I've actually gotten more into slightly sweeter wines than I used to be. I used to be all dry, and now I'm up a little sweeter. How about you?
I have a friend who likes super, super dry wine, and I like my wine like juice. I can do a little bit dry, like especially if I'm eating it with pasta or something like that.
Yeah.
Then it can be a little bit drier, but if I'm just drinking it, then I like sweet.
Mm-hmm.
How do you like your wine, John?
I don't care. It's booze, I drink it.
So do you, Bigfoot?
Yeah. And Loch Ness Monster if we're talking about water, but yeah.
He thinks Bigfoot
Well, if we're talking about water, we could be talking about the Loch Ness Monster or something.
That's exactly right. Yeah, see? They're both real, and the proof is that we haven't found all the animals.
But if there's just one, there can't just be one.
There isn't just one. Or is there? No, there isn't. There isn't. But, there's sightings all over the place. So, obviously they live in lots of different places. So there must be lots of them. And that's it. And the Loch Ness Monster, I'm not so sure, because it wouldn't make sense for there to only be one Loch Ness Monster living in Loch Ness for like 300 years, unless it had the lifespan of a tree. Which I don't know, because we haven't hung out with it to find out yet.
What do you think about these things?
I mean, I believe in possibilities. I've never seen it, so I don't know, but I believe it's possible. Anything's possible.
See?
Just because we haven't seen something doesn't mean it's not real.
I know. But every time we have this conversation, he's like, it's real. And I'm like, I don't think so. But I always follow it up by, I really don't know. But I have a hard time with that.
How about Atlantis? What do you think about that?
I think it's based on a real city.
Yeah.
But I don't know that it was exactly what they describe it as. There were probably plenty of cities that water levels destroyed them and they sunk and we never found them. I don't know how advanced in technology they were, or I've thrown this theory at you before that we used to be like super technologically advanced and something happened and fucked everything up and we had to start from scratch again. So
I definitely thought about that. I mean, how do we think the pyramids were built and all that? They had some sort of technology that we don't have.
What did we decide in episode 1? It was Jason Statham or something like that.
Stop it.
You have to stick with the script.
No, I don't.
But, I mean, Plato and Socrates talked about Atlantis even. They acted like it was a real thing. I mean, it had been information that was passed down to them.
That's exactly it. It was passed down. Like, it was a story that it kept getting passed down. So, it's possible, but I think, like most stories where, back then there was no... You could write it down, but it took a really long time to write it down. Most parts of the story were made up or changed as the story kept getting passed on.
Right, like a game of telephone, it changes.
Exactly, yeah. So I don't know that there was a super technologically advanced city that got wiped out by water. But there probably was plenty of cities that did get wiped out by water. And maybe they just added more stuff to the story to make it sound crazier. Maybe.
Who knows?
I don't know. I know Bigfoot's real, but I don't know if Atlantis is real.
And how do you know this?
I just know.
You're Mr. Fax Man.
I don't like I don't like faxes.
You need fax it. Why don't you just send it over on a dinosaur? Fax, F-A-C-T-S. You like facts.
Mm-hmm.
So where are the Bigfoot facts?
I've seen video, grainy video. I can't see a zipper in that grainy video. Can you? No.
Oh my god.
You guys can get us back on track if you want.
Yeah, only you would take a podcast about the ocean and turn it into your knowledge of Bigfoot.
Welcome to John Seckler. It's in the name.
Alright, what else do you want to know?
I don't know. Let's see.
Because we know everything.
Yeah,
right?
I don't know a damn thing. Whatever happened with the BP spill? Did they ever clean that up?
Did they ever clean it
I
up?
doubt they got all of it.
I don't think an oil spill like that, I don't think can ever be cleaned up completely.
No.
Is it still kicking oil into the ocean?
I'm sure that the pumps were shut down, or the BP was the ship one, right? What was the one with the the rigs actually exploded in the Gulf? Do you remember that?
That was a terrible
I
movie.
knew it was like Fukushima, where
Oh, the radiation.
that was the whole
Mhm.
thing. And I mean, we're still having the effects of that for sure.
I'm definitely pulling for a Godzilla because there's enough radiation in there, and he'll take care of two birds with one stone. Because he'll be like, radiation is bad. Also, I'm gonna take out like a whole bunch of humans. So nobody's with me on that. Okay.
All right. No, I'm looking it up.
I think the world would be better off without humans.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
it would be.
right.
Humans are so destructive.
You have a theory that humans are a mistake.
Oh,
I'd like to hear this.
oh no! I should have wrote it down. Do you remember any of it?
Nope.
Humans are a mistake.
That it was like
Oh, consciousness is a mistake from humans. They shouldn't have it.
that we should be just like any other animal.
Yeah, because look what we do with it. Not a goddamn lick of good at all. Nothing good. I mean, you could say that we try to find out the big answers, but we've been trying that forever and have none. And every time we think we got it, like 300 years later, it changes.
Mm-hmm.
So we're getting nowhere. We're doing nothing with it. We're destroying the planet with our consciousness, and that's it. We don't do shit. We're useless.
I think you were saying like humans, the fact that we are the way we are was actually just kind of like a glitch.
Oh, like we weren't. Like how?
Like we weren't meant to be able to do everything we can do.
Oh, yeah, probably not because
I don't remember. I remember you talking about that one time, or maybe 5 times.
God.
No, you know.
The problem is like I'm high. I think of great things, but I'm also high. I forget them.
Yeah, I relate.
So.
I need to be high more.
Well, yeah,
Right.
You'll be like a genius, but you'll also be like.
A genius.
You'll be a genius and also.
I'll be a genius in my own mind.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was getting at.
All right, the Deepwater Horizon oil spill in 2010, total discharge of 4.9 million barrels. After several failed efforts to contain the flow, the well was declared sealed on September 19th, 2010. Reports in early 2012 indicated that the well site is still leaking, regarded as one of the largest environmental disasters in human history. So it's probably still out there leaking oil into the Gulf.
I like how they said it was sealed. I think they did whale. I'm fishing for some laughs. I'm so useless. So goddamn useless. I'm taking your spot, Jay. This is usually where you come in, but I'm trying to do it for you this week.
We used to get that information about animals in the deepest parts of the ocean, right?
That's what I was talking about with the fluorescent fish and the bony looking ones and the.
Okay.
Just say that. Good job. Good job. That was a good job.
Yeah, that's me getting pat on the back. Way to go, little fella.
Okay. So anyway, I definitely recommend some of these documentaries that will make you want to kill yourself and or become an environmentalist.
Yeah, I
That should
think
be required watching for everyone, because then if
Right?
people were more aware, maybe they would care more.
Mhm.
Probably not for a lot of them, but
this is pretty similar to a lot of the shows that we do. We talk about how animals are being slaughtered, people know they're being slaughtered, people see it and keep eating meat.
Mm-hmm.
It does not stop them. So I have a feeling that, like, seeing this stuff, I feel like a family could be on the way to SeaWorld, watch this in the van on the way there, and then be like, that's terrible,
yeah.
4 please, like...
Yeah.
There's people, if something's not affecting them directly, they just don't care a lot of the time.
Mm-hmm. And I think part of that has to do with, I'm going to pull out my Andrew Yang here.
Oh boy.
In the U.S. at least, so many people are just worried about getting food on the table and keeping their job, and
stopping the election fraud.
When all you're worried about is like being able to take care of your family, then it's really hard, or yourself or whoever, it's really hard to then start to worry about the rest of the country, the rest of the world, you know what I mean? Like, I'm getting in my political...
No, it's too hard. There's too much stuff.
Power, that's what they want. You know, they want us to be distracted with all these things so we don't care as much, because then they keep creating all these things that we keep needing to buy more and more and more, and they keep making all the money. Like, the things that we have now do not last like they used to, because they make them to not last, so that we have to keep buying more, and then we keep throwing more away. And creating more garbage on the planet for nothing, when it doesn't have to be that way.
And then there are these movements like don't use straws, and reuse bags, and and all that kind of stuff, when really it's the government and the corporations that need to be saying, we're not going to produce this anymore, we're not going to package it this way anymore, because
and the reaction to those things is very telling. If we're gonna fight back against not being able to use certain kinds of straws, how do you think we're going to act when we can't use plastic, or when we can't throw things away anymore and have to take them to a certain place? Or, I mean, we can't handle the smallest shit without having a goddamn fit.
Yes.
So,
but like, if the
be so much more sustainable. Like, I am very for hemp stuff, because hemp really is way more sustainable. It grows more quickly than all the other stuff that we use to create the things that we have, and it becomes Earth again instead of being on the planet forever. And up until recently, we hadn't been allowed to grow hemp in America for quite a lot of years.
Oh, ridiculous.
But making things out of that again, I think that would make a giant difference.
Didn't that have to do with the rope production? People were like, we don't want to use hemp for rope anymore, we're using this, so stop growing it and say it's illegal.
I don't know.
I thought I heard that before. But that might have been that, what is the name of that movie where people get high and jump out a window?
Reefer Madness?
That's the one. Yep.
Never seen it.
It's a good one. Really good.
Dude, it's kind of hilarious. It was a propaganda film back in like the 30s.
Oh, wait.
They remade it too.
Familiar.
They remade it with Nev Campbell. It's
basically acted like,
so good.
if you smoke weed, you're going to lose your mind and go wild.
Wait, is that where somebody jumps out a window? You said that.
Yeah, that's where somebody jumps out a window, yeah.
I do remember something about the remake.
It was sponsored by like the lumber and alcohol industries.
Oh my god.
Isn't obviously why hemp's illegal? Well, hemp or marijuana, I don't know. It's connected because
that's exactly what it was. Then I remember that the people who manufactured a certain kind of rope were upset because hemp was better for making rope.
Yeah.
But they were like, no, we got to make it illegal. So don't people smoke that? Just make it so that it's like a drug that people can't use.
So did they lobby for regulations and get in with the government and everything?
Of course they did.
Of course.
Yeah.
Isn't bamboo another one that grows faster and takes less water, like uses less water to grow and stuff like that? Yeah. There's so many other materials that we could be using.
Let's put on our evil hats here, okay? So, from a purely capitalist standpoint, you can still use these things that are better for the environment and make a mad killing using them. Like, people say that, well, they would make more money by using plastic. You can find a way to sell hemp and still make mad money off it and not kill the earth. You can still be billionaires, right? I mean, it can be done. You can reuse plastic, but maybe like monopolize the way that it's reused so that you can be an evil capitalist still.
Well, here's how I think it would happen is that they would have, like, for instance, they would use glass bottles for, Coke or whatever a long time ago. And then at some point it became, okay, well, if we use this, it's cheaper.
Okay.
And it would be that way for pretty much any product. Well, if we replace this with this, then it's cheaper. And then that became the norm. I mean, it's been decades now because it was the 50s when plastic became like really the thing. Mm-hmm. Because it's so durable and it's cheaper and yada, yada, yada. Cheaper. So now it's the norm. So then convincing people that to not do the norm anymore is the issue.
Cheaper is arbitrary. Completely arbitrary. We don't set the prices of anything. They set the prices. They set how much something is going to be, how much they want to make it for, how much it costs for labor, all of it. They set it.
Well, as far as them buying materials, it's cheaper for the materials they need to buy.
Work together on that.
Well, you only put so much effort in before you collect your check.
Laziness.
All they really care about is money. They don't care about the earth or the people or anything.
Well, that's why I was trying to think in that way. Like, trying to think of a way they could still get completely ridiculously rich.
Because now you're at the point where okay, say you are the CEO of a plastic cup company or whatever.
If you're a CEO of Nestle, you can cut your own head off. Thank you.
So then what would go into changing all of your production and all of your, you know what I mean? What would be the motivation for you to change everything from the way you're doing it?
You can be rich, super rich, and everybody will talk about how great you are because we know you're a narcissist. And everybody will be like, this guy changed everything. He helped the earth, him, by himself, even though it was probably a whole bunch of other people doing all the work. No one's going to pay attention to that. They're going to be like, this dude, headless Nestle man, he did this. It was all him. And he'll go down in history as the greatest billionaire that ever lived because that's what he cares about. Right?
What if he doesn't think that plastic is a problem? Because people just recycle it anyway. So what's the problem?
I'd be like, you don't.
You recycle so many times until it's unusable and then it's garbage again.
And so many times it doesn't get recycled.
You would have to.
The majority of the time, a very, very small bit of plastic gets recycled.
Mm-hmm.
And it costs a shit ton of money to recycle it.
But they would have to actually do research to know these things.
Well, they're not going to do the research. Somebody needs to bring the research to them and appeal to their narcissism.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
I think you should be the man.
Are you kidding? I can't remember shit from anything. You have to send me in there with a notebook. And then I'd find out I was in the Nestle guys thing, and I'd probably try to light the house on fire.
What's your problem with Nestle?
Are you leading me on here? All right. Nestle has gone into several countries where there have been droughts, taken the water that they have, the little water that they have, taken it from them, put it in bottles, and sold it back to them. The guy who runs it says that water should not be a human right. And he said this several times. People have been like, wait, we're taking him out of context. And he's like, no. It shouldn't be a human right.
Mm-hmm.
He has almost every bottled water that we drink is from Nestle. There are very few exceptions. Even the local ones, Nestle still owns them. It's insane. So, Tank Girl, that shit's happening, man.
Tank Girl. They also convinced underdeveloped countries that they needed formula instead of breastfeeding.
Yeah, they did. And then they sold it to them. I forgot that one. Thank you.
Yeah. You're welcome. How? Evil.
They're terrible. Bezos is bad. But the Nestle guy, who I don't even remember his name, so, I don't even know who you are, you fuck.
You're not even important enough for me to remember your name.
He's the worst, because he's exploiting a human need for profit. There's going to come a point when there's going to be no way to get water unless you're paying for it. Which we already are, aren't we? Really?
I mean...
I know, not necessarily...
Even illegal to collect rainwater.
It is.
I know. How How fucked up is that?
I don't even want to drink this and I'm not allowed to have it? It's bullshit.
I mean, there are, like, even around here, there's springs where you can go and, like, and get water and stuff, but then there's the fear of what might be in it.
Yeah,
then,
the only thing I remember from my ecology class, because I paid attention real well there, but springs are collecting everything from the beginning, the mouth of the creek or river or whatever, all the rivers and lakes and connecting little arms, everything washes down and comes out on that end, and you're getting all of it.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't.
So if there's a pig farm upstream,
yes,
or something like that,
anything like waste, blood, guts, bacteria, chemicals. If somebody dumps oil in there, because they're like, oh, it's just a little oil. Well, it all keeps collecting, and
aw, he's depressed now.
I need to see a therapist.
See, notice we're fine. I mean,
it's a very depressing subject, but I think
it
we just know how it is.
I can't handle the smallest amount of sadness.
I think the thing is, like, I've done so much research and like just been thinking about this and like wanting to learn more for so long that, you know, it's the norm. Like, you have the occasional, like, oh, that's really depressing, but then it's like, okay, just keep going. And I really am trying I have been doing better, and I am trying to do better with other things, like buying less plastic and all that kind of stuff. My kids always mess it up, though, because they want freaking 3 different kinds of Dr. Peppers in the plastic bottles.
That story that you told me was amazing.
Oh my god. I went to get, the kids wanted Dr. Pepper, right? But they wanted 2 different kinds of Dr. Pepper. One wanted regular Dr. Pepper, and the other one wanted Dr. Pepper with cream soda in it. And there were cans, which I've been trying to get cans or like things that are, you know, easier to recycle. So like I've been.
I know they make Dr. Pepper in glass bottles too.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how easy it is to find, but we used to have it where I work, and they have stopped carrying it recently. But they had Dr. Pepper in glass bottles.
See, I feel like it tastes better from a glass bottle too.
Right, for sure, yeah.
So.
I mean, I don't like pop in general, but I feel like anything tastes better out of glass instead of plastic.
Oh yeah. So they had these little, tiny little cans, like little 8-ounce cans of plain Dr. Pepper for like $5 and something for a 6-pack.
Wow.
And then they had the giant 20-ounce plastic bottles, a 6-pack for like $3 and something.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Like, it blows my mind.
I don't know who sets these prices, but they're terrible people.
It's the same as, like, you can get a 2-liter for $1 something, you know what I mean? Or like at a vending machine, you can get a 20-ounce bottle of something for like, what is it at work, $1.75?
Stop personally attacking me.
Stop contributing to the problem, John.
I put it in the recycling bin. I even started taking the caps off like you told me.
We already covered that. Only a small amount of recycling actually gets recycled.
So you want me to not do it?
I still recycle, but it just makes me so sad to think that, like, if one person puts something that can't be recycled in with all that stuff, none of it gets used.
Oh, that's
you know,
fucked.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, it's terrible.
I see that all the time here. Like, we have one big dumpster that's just recycling. And what did I see in there the other day? A broom. Somebody put a broom in there.
Uh-huh.
And I'm like, no.
Oh no, it's so frustrating. Yeah, at work we have a dumpster that's supposed to be just for recycling, but I know that people put stuff in there that is not recyclable, and it's all messed up then, and it's not gonna be recycled like it's supposed to be. So it's such a shame.
There are other countries, like my brother lived in Belgium, and he said they were like crazy strict about their recycling. Like, they had to be in certain kinds of bags, divided in a very certain way, like, and if it wasn't, like, I think the garbage company fined you if there were things that were wrong.
That's great. I wish it was like that everywhere.
Yeah.
Then people would actually be putting effort in.
Pay attention. Yeah.
I kind of think maybe instead of trying to get the billionaires to go our way, maybe have harsher punishments on people who don't.
I guess.
There's gotta be some sort of incentive of some kind.
I feel like that's putting the responsibility on the wrong end of it.
Which end?
Like the real responsibility is the people producing this.
Right, but it's easier to control the other people than it is to control the people.
It's easier to control the little people, right? Right.
I swear to God, I'm going outside and knocking a mailbox over when this is done. I've had enough.
Damn the man.
Always damn
the man.
Absolutely.
That's what I say.
Well, we got about an hour. You guys got anything else? Because I have not contributed a damn thing. I promise I won't name the episode Bigfoot is Real, because then
You better not.
I won't do that. I like to take things from the episode and turn it into the title.
Yes.
I like your titles. I think they're always funny.
There you
But
go.
I'll try to pick something that I didn't say this time.
Aw,
'Cause
thanks.
I have not helped. This is, you guys did great. I was so unprepared.
High five.
I mean, I felt too.
You can find us on Spotify, iTunes, Podbean, YouTube. But I mean, if you're already listening to us on something else, I don't know why you go find us on another platform. That doesn't make a lot of sense, does it?
Boy, you can take anything and just go like straight down. But don't listen anyway, because who fucking cares? Because you're gonna die.
This show made me feel the most nihilist that we have so far. Just everything we're like, yeah, but there's no hope. Nobody can do anything. It's all fucked. We're doomed. Okay, that's it. Bite it?
There.
Yeah.
Yeah.